The Gospel of Matthew tells the story of the Magi with disarming synthesis. As always in the Gospels, the lack of detail is an expedient to enable the access to an alternative meaning level. In the journey of these scholars, we can see a symbolic tale of astronomical inspiration. In order to identify the Magi, we can refer to a few meaningful key indications. Here is the first one.
A band of scholars from the East arrived in Jerusalem. They asked around, "Where can we find and pay homage to the newborn King of the Jews? We observed a star in the eastern sky that signaled his birth. We're on pilgrimage to worship him."
The title Magi, plural of magus, that means wizard, qualifies these characters as master scholars in the astrological sciences. Their arrival in Jerusalem confirms their nature of celestial bodies. The city is in fact connected to the Gemini sign and to the celestial cross. The cross is the ecliptic 0 point, the most important site of the entire sky. For this reason, Jerusalem represents in some way the whole celestial sphere. In the Gospel, the Magi take a log journey to meet baby Jesus. In the night sky, the celestial bodies that have the privilege to meet the Sun Child are those close to the ecliptic, the line that crosses the zodiac, on which the planets move. However, the Magi are not planets. In fact, they always travel together, at the same speed, following a light that they call the Eastern Star, because compared to their position, is always in the east.
Instructed by the king, they set off. Then the star appeared again, the same star they had seen in the eastern skies.
For centuries, the Eastern Star has been identified with a comet. However, the idea that even the Magi might be stars changes the perspective and leads to a different identification. The Magi and the Eastern Star are a group of celestial bodies moving in solidarity. That is, maintaining the same relative distances from each other. The star is guiding them towards the east, the place they are returning to. However, when they arrive in Jerusalem, east is not the direction they're coming from.
In a dream, they were warned not to report back to Herod, so they worked out another route.
Upon returning, the Magi undertake a path different from the one traveled to arrive. Just like the stars, which rise every night in the east, and cross the entire sky to set in the west. However, the Magi follow the reverse path, coming from the west. They continue their journey towards the east, always chasing the Eastern Star. Of course, they have a very unusual behavior. In reality, observing the sky for several millennia, the ancient civilizations had verified that the entire celestial sphere seemed to rotate slowly counterclockwise, dragging all the stars towards the east. Today, we call this phenomenon precession of the equinoxes. The best candidates to play the Magi are the four royal stars of the ancient Persians. That in the Gospel of Luke play as the shepherds, Regulus, Antares, Fomalhaut, and Aldebaran. Intensely bright, close to the ecliptic, and placed in the four corners of the sky, these four stars guided astrologers and travelers for millennia. The millennial rotation of the celestial sphere allows each of them to meet the Sun Child, the son of the spring equinox. Tradition has accustomed us to think that the Magi were 3. But the Gospel only reports that 3 was the number of the gifts.
They entered the house and saw the child in the arms of Mary, his mother. Overcome, they kneeled and worshipped him. Then they opened their luggage and presented gifts: gold, frankincense, myrrh.
The offering of a gift takes place every time a royal star enters in conjunction with the Sun Child. Regulus offered his gift at the end of the Age of Lion, 11,000 years ago. Aldebaran offered the child a second gift in the Age of Taurus, 6,000 years ago. Hormort is still awaiting its turn in the Age of Aquarius, the upcoming age. The most important milestone in the evolution of the planet consciousness. But Aquarius also marks a borderline. The Magi trace a path that begins in Bethlehem, the age of Virgo. But this path is interrupted on the age of Aquarius. In fact, the fourth Magus, the age of Scorpio, does not bring any gift. The literal translations of the Gospel of Matthew refer that the guiding star reached the child and rested upon him.
Then the star appeared again, the same star they had seen in the eastern skies. It led them on until it hovered over the child.
This poetic image conceals a precise astronomical indication. The solar disk can overlap the guide star, completely hiding it. A condition typical of stars perfectly aligned with the ecliptic. Therefore, the guide star has the following characteristics. First, it is located east of Regulus, the first of the Magi. Second, it is almost perfectly aligned with the ecliptic. Third, it lies within the limits of the age of Leo, the first age after the birth. A star matching all the indications is Alarath, in the Virgo. Today, we know this star with the name Beta Virginis. The birth of the child in Bethlehem recalls the event that took place at the beginning of the age of Leo, which gave our planet its current order. Alarath was the first star to reach the Sun Child, showing the Magi the way. With infinite patience, each of the Magi undertook the millennial crossing of the sky, to go to honor the child, and pay his homage. Meanwhile, on Earth, history was taking its course. According to the Gospel, the Magi met Jesus in a house.
They entered the house and saw the child in the arms of Mary, his mother.
In astrology, house is a zodiacal sign. The solar house is the sign where the sun is. The Magi are normal, still stars, each belonging to its own zodiacal house. But along several millennia, the procession will make their sign to become the house of the Sun Child. The Adoration of the Magi is an imposing oil-on panel, dated 1482. This painting contains the secret of the gifts, which were offered to the King of Kings. In the upper part, stylized figures, barely sketched, represent the energies that govern the supersensible worlds. On the right, the destructive energies give rise to a ruinous and chaotic battle. On the left, the constructive energies, with graceful movements, are intent on building the temple in an orderly and harmonious environment. Order and chaos, shadow and light. The lower half of the painting represents the material universe that exchanges energy with the supersensible worlds through the channels represented by the palm and by the laurel tree. The mother and the child interpret the earth and the equinoctial sun. Around them, the zodiacal constellations can be seen, represented by the Magi and their companions. The only case in the Renaissance Leonardo portrays 4 Magi in the presence of the child. Their arrangement, at the top of a cross centered on the child's face, respects the arrangement of the 4 royal stars with respect to the sun. By extracting the main figures from the painting and transferring them to a 3-dimensional environment, it is possible to restore depth to the image. In this abstract environment, the star cross can be reconstructed with amazing precision. The cross formed by the 4 stars allows to uniquely determine the ecliptic plane. By segmenting the ecliptic into 12 portions, the 12 astrological ages appear, associated with the corresponding zodiacal signs. However, the zodiacal order is reversed, a sign that the work must be deciphered in the mirror, like the writings of the great artist. Behind the multitude of people, Leonardo portrays a horse, with great attention to detail. In the mirror version, the face of the animal, shaped like an arrow, indicates the direction of rotation of the vernal point with respect to the ecliptic. The face of the horse reveals that the gifts were opened in sequence. Regulus gave his gift first. The open recipient in the scholar's hand indicates that this event belongs to the past. The Virgin then began to rotate the child towards the next scholar. In the same way, the Earth moves the vernal point along the ecliptic, modifying the orientation of the terrestrial axis. In the painting, the child prepares to open the 3rd gift, corresponding to the age of Aquarius. Once the gift is opened, the planetary order is destined to change again, protecting the vernal point from meeting the terrible dark magician, Antares, in Scorpio, which keeps on the sidelines, observing.